All right, hello everyone.
Hello.
Welcome to our group, our weekly group. We are so glad to have you all here. We'll give everyone maybe a minute just to be able to log on to get the notification that we
Yes.
are live and here to chat it up with you guys or with you all, you ladies. So today we are talking about the journey of self-love and having a positive self-image. So if you have any questions or comments, any thoughts that you would like to share with us, you can do that in the comment section. So we love when you all are engaging with us and, letting us know that you're out there. You agree with us, or even if you have something else, a different perspective, we definitely want to hear that. So I'm Sherry,
I'm
and I work
Sharea.
with I work with Sharea at the Arts Counseling and Wellness Center. Sharea is the executive director and lead therapist there. I am the intake coordinator and lead coach, and so we do a lot of great things at the counseling center. But ultimately, just really passionate about empowering people to be well in every area of their life. So that's why we are still continuing with doing this group on a weekly basis, because we just want to make sure that everyone knows that you have support and people who are here cheering you on, even as we navigate just everything that's going on, not just here in our society and in our country, what's going on in our community, but even individually as well. And even as women of color, is that there is, a different um, lens that we see the world through. And so we just want to support each other as we just navigate just the different perspectives that we all have and celebrate our differences as well. All right, so we
All right,
are.
now that she had that kumbaya moment. I'm like, what's Sherry doing? That's why I love you. I'm like, what?
I was trying to give a long intro so that people
You're
can
eating my grapes. Try not to like smack too loud because I'm starving. But that was great. I was like, where's she going with this?
because I didn't see anybody on yet. So I was like,
Give it some time. Let's give it something.
so as you guys can see, we totally have fun here. So this is not one of those, really strict, rigid broadcasts. Like we're people, we're human. So we are here. Okay, so let's go and get into our topic, our discussion. So oh, you had something to add? Okay, so before this broadcast, Sharea and I, we were talking about just our own journey of just like self love and how it's ever evolving. Because of just one, you get older, you have different experiences, and then you go through different changes, as well. So that's what we wanted to really share with you all, just a little bit of our own journey, but also to encourage you as you are on your own journey as well. And so while the discussion will be focusing on physical aspects, of our self-love and
Well,
how
we
we
don't know
view
where it's going to go.
ourselves. We're not doing that in a way just to be superficial, but I mean, let's be truthful. Like how you look, it matters to you. It's just that it can impact just how you feel about yourself, and even the confidence that you have. So that's why we wanted to talk about it. So I'll start it off with saying that just my self-love journey has been a little bit more challenging over the past like month and a half. So one, just being here in this quarantine, going through the pandemic, it was definitely an adjustment. But to be honest, the pandemic, getting adjusted to that was a little bit more easier for me personally. Just with stuff getting canceled and now being home most of the time, I actually did enjoy that aspect of it, just being able to rest. And so that didn't hit me too hard. It wasn't until the past like month and a half when everything just really erupted when it came to just racial tensions here in the US, which is just, again, evident of 400 years of issues, but that's a whole nother conversation. But just seeing everything, it just really took a toll on me mentally and emotionally, and even spiritually as well. Like I really had to just step back and do some real work when it came to one, being aware of what's going on, but then also still not losing hope in the process. And I completely fell off the whole exercise train. So I was excited when I first started quarantine. I was like, okay, I'm still getting my little workouts in a few days a week. Man, when I tell y'all I fell off, I fell hard. So I stopped working out. I've gained several pounds. Will not put the number out there. And so it was really kind of difficult to see myself still in a positive way and just not like knowing that I wanted to make changes so I can be what I deem healthy and what I know is healthy for myself, but then also not looking at myself and just being like, ew, you know, like I still wanted to look in the mirror and still be like, yes, Sherry, you got it going on. But again, gaining the extra weight that was not wanted, it made it a little bit more challenging. And so the main point that I really just wanted to talk about today is just finding that balance and still loving yourself, even if you, as you choose or seek to grow, and seek to be a healthier version of yourself as well. And so that's what I've been trying to be conscious of. Like I try to make sure I get up and still put on like, you know, I'm not getting dressed up every day, let me say that. But still, you know, put on like something cute, like a cute top and some leggings, you know, or some shorts at the most. But I am not getting dressed up. But I try to do that. Like the other day I did my eyebrows, which I'm very proud of. I think I did a good job, you know.
Thanks.
So doing that, and you know, I haven't done it yet. I used to polish my nails all the time, but I was thinking about that this weekend, how I think I'm going to get back into the habit of doing that. Like I love painting my fingernails, and so just little things just to be able to boost, you know, my confidence even in the midst of, you know, some unfavorable changes that has happened. And so recognizing like that the essence of who I am, like I'm still like the same cool, funny, intelligent Sherry Wary,
Awesome.
you know, whether I have a few extra unwanted pounds, you know, or not. So
Agreed.
so
I'm having a bad hair day, people. Let me just start by saying that. And when I have a bad hair day, it feels like I'm having a bad hair day. And so it may not look like it's everyone else, but you know, like even people with locks have bad hair days. And I'm like, I can't get it to lay right. It looks like it's bigger on one side than the other. It's just a lot going on in my mind right now. And so as we talk about self-love, the first thing I was thinking was, you know, how do you thank you? How do you see yourself the way you truly are versus the moments that you might be struggling with, right? And so knowing and understanding that you can be beautiful and still have bad moments where you are not 100% the way you want to look, right? And so I think part of a self-love journey, whatever that may mean for you, includes being able to acknowledge that flawless includes flaws, right? Where it really means that some days you're not going to have the best feeling about what you look like, but that doesn't mean that you're ugly. And that doesn't mean that you're not lovable or worthy of love or worthy of loving yourself first as others love you. And so I feel like as we were talking or I was listening, I was like, I know this is going to seem so silly to everyone else because when you look at it, it's like, it looks nice, it looks beautiful. And I do thank you for acknowledging that it looks beautiful. But it's also a self-conscious thing where we have to acknowledge that that's part of our journey. And knowing that, making sure that it doesn't get to the point where you're then beating yourself up as a result of it not being perfect, right? And so at the beginning of quarantine, I was in it to win it. I'm working out every day. I'm working out every day now, and absolutely no weight coming off, right? And so the truth of the matter is that that doesn't mean my journey isn't still worth it because I still feel really well. I still feel like I'm doing and physically inside doing better. It's just that I can't see the weight come off. Now, awesome shout out again to Sasha for holding me down. Just adding water consistently, a certain amount with the with ounces has been very helpful because it has felt better this week, and hopefully it'll shift some of the weight loss portion of what I want to do. But being consistent has still impacted my health, and that should be just as celebrated as the numbers on the scale. And so being able to kind of make sure your journey is honest to the whole experience and not just the end result that you want is a very important part of self-love. And I just think you defined what that means for you. Like one person's area of success could be another person's area that they feel like they're failing in. But that doesn't mean that you're not worthy of truly loving your whole self, right? And so I really would say during my journey, during your journey, you have to define what that means for you and you have to be willing to see your whole self on that journey. Like there's going to be times when you don't feel like you look great, but then there's going to be other times when you absolutely are killing it and you want the whole world to know and see it, right? And so
Right.
I think that's just being honest, hopefully, that we all need to acknowledge our whole selves on our journey. So that's my point as I'm eating my grapes.
Yeah, and then another thing for me is that I had to change. I have to constantly learn the point of like what season of my life that I'm in or what's going on, is that define wins in a new way. So right now, because of the fact that, okay, it's going to be a few weeks before I probably see the scale drop as much as I want to. But it's just being able, like, so one thing I was proud of on Monday. Yeah, it was Monday this week. So I started doing a more intense workout like the past 3 weeks, like doing Thai bows. Shout out to Billy Blanks. I am a huge Billy Blanks fan. So I've been watching his old YouTube videos. He has some new ones out too. And so I started like a more intense one because I just felt like the regular one, I felt like I plateaued. And so I got through the entire workout for the first time on Monday. Mind you, it's been almost 3 weeks doing a more intense level.
Don't mind us. No, you got through it Monday. That's the win.
Yes. So that's the thing. I was so excited because it was a struggle. Like I had to, before Monday, when I was doing it the previous almost 3 weeks now, I had to stop and take breaks and get some water, and so being able to go and get all the way straight through, like that was a win. And like after I got done, like I definitely high-fived myself. Just
as you should.
So I was pretty excited about that. And so just being able to redefine wins and what a win looks like, where it's just like, okay, that's a huge achievement. And that comes because of the fact that I'm committed. The consistency is starting to pay off, at least in my energy levels or my endurance. Endurance levels is a better way to say that. So my endurance levels. So yeah, like being able to celebrate, redefine wins helps. Again, like just not being too hard on myself and dwelling on, oh, Sharea, you're horrible because of the fact you fell off for however many weeks. And, like not beat myself up too much, over that, and just still being like, okay, we're going to rock this out. We got this. Right.
We're going to rock it out, and we're going to be okay with this journey being a process, not a destination.
Yeah.
Right? Because at the end of the day, even if you get to a weight, doesn't mean that you're going to be your healthiest unless you're taking care of yourself consistently, right? So what else is going on? If we talk that one.
We're talking about positive images, or we're talking about a different topic?
Whatever you want to talk about, sis.
So let's hear, like, we have a few people watching to see just what you all thoughts are. Your thoughts are, wow, that was blending together. When it comes to like self-love and image in your journey. And another thing I would share in relation to that is that what's so ironic too, for me personally, being in this place where I need to lose weight, is that I used to be that person that was trying to gain weight and couldn't gain it for nothing in the world. It actually wasn't until I was like in my almost mid-30s that I actually started gaining weight. And prior to that, I wanted to gain weight and couldn't. So now I'm being on the other side where it's like
another world over here.
Listen, I did not know what I was asking for, okay? At all. But even though I was extremely, I won't say extremely, but I was really skinny, to be honest, I really wasn't my healthy version, of being skinny, because like just it was impossible to gain weight. I wasn't trying to eat that great. I wasn't working out. At that point, I was just naturally just slim. So honestly, like even like from where I am now, I was still probably considered I'm probably in a healthier state because of the fact that I'm making more conscious decisions when it comes to what I'm eating and actually working out a few times a week. So, yeah, there's that.
So the journey is not just about weight, right?
Yeah.
And when we think about self-love, I don't really even think it has anything to do with our physical as much as it has to do with how we see ourselves, how we define ourselves, and how confident we are that regardless of what we look like on the outside, the true beauty comes from that inside out. And that there might be aspects of our outside that we want to shift or change or to grow, but it doesn't equate to us not being able to love ourselves as a result. I think, especially for women, I think we have been taught that how we look on the outside is such a huge part of our beauty.
Yeah.
That it becomes difficult to hear and receive that when you feel like you don't look beautiful. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't feel good about how you look, or you shouldn't try to make sure you look your best or want to feel like you look your best. But what I am saying is that making sure that you are conscious of how you're talking about yourself and how beautiful you feel you are, regardless of what you might look like on the outside, becomes an extremely important, to me, factor in self-love journey.
No, that's good. And I mean, and even like my dissatisfaction with how I looked when I was skinny really came from the fact that I got teased, even as an adult, by other adult women about how skinny I was, and saying that like I wasn't really a woman because I didn't have curves, and if I ever want to get married, you know, he's gonna want to have something to hold on to, you know, all that stuff. And I really internalized that. Yeah, like it really was, and it was hard. Like, positive body image was really, in my opinion, for my experience, was really one-sided during that time, because as a skinny person, if you talked about the fact that you had body image issues, or you felt like people were shaming you because of your body shape, people just kind of dismissed it, just kind of like, you're skinny, what are you talking about, you don't have a problem. But if I had not internalized that, I probably would be in a different place today, to be quite honest. Because I didn't work out because I didn't want to lose more weight than what I already had, you know, and so I was trying to gain weight, and it was impossible at that point. And just, yeah, it was because of just comments from other people. And what's even more ironic is that the guy, because I was, you know, I dated during that time, the guys that I dated never stated they had any issue with the fact that I was really slim.
As they should.
Yeah, because there was so many women though that really was always commenting about, you know, me being so slim and not having curves. It really affected me a lot. So I definitely, at some point, I mean, that's the one thing I would definitely change if I could go back, is just being happy with who I am, and just for not defining womanhood by how curvy you are or whatever other things.
Yeah. Well, not defining any of your womanhood by what you look like on the outside. Yeah. Right? Because it should not be about your outer body, or your outer body, that doesn't make sense, excuse me, your outer being that defines your beauty. Like, and it also shouldn't define your womanhood, because at the end of the day, it's more to being a woman than just having curves. Like, and it's more to being a beautiful woman than just having curves, right? Because in some cultures, not so much that isn't a sign of beauty at all. In other cultures, I think, because that impacts also how we see ourselves, right? Which is like, what was you told was beautiful? Oh, like, you ain't got no booty, or you straight up and down, right? So it's like, okay, those things are jokes and teasing, but what it starts to do is tell me that I'm not counted as beautiful in this group of people, which means I want to either I'm going to not love myself, or I'm going to think really poorly of myself. So some of our internal comes from external experiences, right? And how it shapes us, because depending on how young we are, or even if we're in our teens and we're trying to develop, it can automatically start making us think poorly of ourselves. And you're right. I do think at the time, especially, body shaming has always been about not shaming heavier people, versus more or less they believe because you're thin, you should be okay. Yeah. And that's just not fair, because not every person is confident in their body, even if they're thin. Mm-hmm. So.
It was tough. It was definitely tough. So yeah, we see Sasha Dejoy. Hey, Sasha. Say hello to you all. So what else? Just with this self-learning journey. So some other aspects. I mean, that also includes hair. You know, that I've been natural for several years now. I don't remember exactly how many. I
was thinking about that this morning. Do you know I've been natural since 97?
And that was before it was even popular. Yes. Listen, the natural Lisas were not popping back in 97.
No, y'all, all of these extra things y'all doing, we did not. I'm sorry. I always am so, so my hair, I've had my hair locked for, oh my gosh, 21 years. Wow. So I've been locked 21 years, but I've been natural like a year or 2 years before, or maybe a year and a half. So it was like 97 going into 98. And literally we have half of this like natural hair community, it was very clear that we were on this journey so low. Like, and I was thinking about that this morning because there was many times, especially in the beginning of my journey, where I was just like, maybe this isn't a good, maybe this isn't going to be an easy journey, but I'm going to stick to it.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I just read one in the comment question.
So,
I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's fine. So like when it comes to now, I'm like, I'm all for the absolute like Black hair community, the natural hair community. I love it. Like I think timing for me has always been different than everyone else when it comes to certain things. So when I was doing it, it was never with the attempt of trying to shame other people or make other people think that their route of beauty wasn't good, but it was what I wanted for myself. And at the time I got so many like negative responses, and I won't even begin to tell you some of the things even my family said to me that were like, they cut deep. Like I had my one uncle who would like literally take the fight for me because he was like, y'all not gonna make my baby feel like she ain't beautiful because I was getting all kinds of old school pickaninnies and like issues around like colorism because of it. It was a lot of stuff. But I look now and I'm like, I'm so glad I stuck to it because it was my own identity. It was what I wanted for myself. It was what I had to deal with to be able to say I'm a professional and still have locks at the time, especially just getting interviewed and past the interview was not the same as it is now. And I'm sure it's still difficult. And I know it's still difficult because I live in locks every day. But I remember at the time being told I'm not going to get a job in management or supervision because of how I look. And that's just like, well, I had to decide for myself, was I willing to take this on? And 21 years later. So, what was that question? What was the question?
Yeah, because they come back. So it says, what do you think or say when a person who isn't happy with their body would say things like, it will fit you because you're skinny, bleed? And
say that part again. Wait.
It says, what do you think or say when a person who isn't happy with their body would say things like, oh, that would fit you because you're a skinny, bitch?
Okay, so most of the people who know me know that they wouldn't call me that because I hate that. like the B part. But I think the first thing is to call them out on that. Like,
absolutely.
To call them out on the fact that they don't get to define beauty or understanding of someone's beauty or flaws about their beauty just because they're not skinny, right? Like you don't get to tell me that I don't understand something just because in that moment I may not reflect it, right? So you don't know if I've been skinny, if I've always been skinny. You don't know anything about a person's weight journey for you to shame them with saying that they don't get it because of what they look like. You don't know how they feel about being skinny. They could have be self-conscious about their weight, being underweight. I know that there was one of my old girlfriends who was extremely thin, and she was very self-conscious of her weight. And I was very conscious of not trying to shame her because other people were doing it. And it was obvious because it was like every time they would mention like, oh, she can't drink that because she a buck. She gonna fall out. Like, and it's a joke, but it's not. It's a slight at the person's self-image. So I would call them out on it. That would be my first thing. But you have to be okay with the risk of them taking it personal, but being very certain that it's not okay for you to shame me. Because if I turned that around, how would you feel?
Exactly.
Right? Like if I said the same things to you, how would you feel about your weight? Like if I said to someone who was overweight, oh, you can't wear that because you're big. That would be just as wrong as you telling me that I don't understand or you too skinny. It's no difference. It's still shaming. So call them out on it. That would be my answer. I don't know what other way to say that. Call them out on it and make sure that if that's your friend, that they understand that they don't have any authority to continue to talk to you that way. Because if they do, then they're not your friend.
Yeah, that's what I wish I would have done. Because I've gotten comments. I mean, thankfully not the calling me out my name, but I've gotten those comments like when I was skinnier. is that I got that comments like that all the time. And I wish that I would have had the confidence and boldness in that area of my life to speak out against it and say that it was wrong. Because I said, like, it wore down on my self-esteem. And I totally understand what you're saying. It's annoying. It was annoying. It angered me. It frustrated me. And like I said, it definitely impacted my self-esteem, where I struggled with my self-esteem.
And I'm not trying to shame you. So why are you shaming me?
Right. Because they're really projecting their insecurities on you.
Absolutely.
Like, really. Yeah. Because like what it is that they're jealous of the fact that you're skinny and they want to be, and whatever reason, who knows what challenges.
I'm going to change it from jealousy, because I think that becomes more like it was intended to be hurtful, which it isn't always. I think for me, I think they envy, because jealousy is very different than envy. Like they envy what you have and they want to be able to have that and don't sometimes know how to. So instead they attack. So it's almost like a projection / defense mechanism, and being defensive, almost like I need to judge you since I can't have it. So it's like I envy your position versus like when I'm jealous of what you, well, I guess it's just, whatever, same word. I told y'all today I am about to just sit here, eat these grapes, and be quiet as Sharea running the show.
I was going with you though. I was like, let me listen to her explanation. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, they really are projecting their own insecurity about their own health struggles, you know, and who knows what they're going through. I mean, I don't know how well you know the person. And so you may not know all the details of what that person is going through from a health perspective. They really may be trying to be the healthy version of themselves they want to be, but have health barriers to that's kind of difficult to overcome. But that still doesn't give them, even with having sympathy for their own health journey, does not give them the right or justify them now pushing their insecurity on you.
I know this is off subject because it made me think of something, and I know this is going to sound real random, but when people are like, hurt people. Okay, but that ain't no excuse to hurt me. You need to figure out why you hurt. Why you need to figure out why you feel like your hurt means that I should be hurt because of you. No, go deal with that. Like, they hurt you, not me. Like, unless I'm the one who hurt you, even then I don't think you have the right to hurt anyone. So, but hurt people don't hurt people. Not if they don't want to. The same way, like, cause just because I've been hurt don't mean I have the right to go out and hurt someone else. But anyway, I digress.
I'm gonna come back to that because that reminds me of an incident where we were talking about before the video too. So I'm gonna bring that into the discussion. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, like, yeah, just definitely call them out on it. It's not okay for them to put their insecurity on you and to make you feel bad. And just be honest with the fact that, hey, like, this makes me feel bad when you say this. This hurts my feelings. I want you to stop. And if they can't respect that boundary, that's when, you know, okay, we got to put some distance here. Either we stop hanging out or our conversations get shorter, or just, hey, we just part ways, because
I have to have limits on how much I let you in if you don't know how to treat me fairly.
Yeah. And maybe y'all can still hang out, but y'all don't go shopping together anymore. Because if that's always comments about what can fit and what you can wear, okay, well, we don't go to the mall together anymore. We just go out to eat. Like,
that's how you eat though. Why are you watching what I'm doing? I'm just saying. But
so,
again,
that was us to say about that. We had, hey, Lisa saying hello. So speaking of the hurt people and the self-image thing, is that it made me think. So I had this incident. I'm going to be very general because I don't want to, you know, put anybody on blast. But I had this incident where I saw that this person was acting out of their pain, and while it helped me to have sympathy for me not to retaliate with them or towards them in a way that would make them feel even worse about like themselves or the situation. What I did want to prove is that I didn't have to stoop to that level and demonstrate the same or interact with them out of my own hurt, you know? And so it's just that with that point is that, yeah, like, if you know you hurt, just take the time to heal, like just step back. And going through the healing process is not easy. Like, it requires a lot of hard work. It requires a lot of introspection. Some days you have some good days and you're knocking it out. And then some days you fall down and you fall back and you got to get back up and try again. So that's not to say that the journey is easy, but other people don't deserve to suffer because you won't decide to heal. Like, there's this one quote that was going around on social media where it said something about like, if you don't take the time to heal, you bleed on other people who didn't cut you, something along those lines. Yeah, it's just like, but
Got
basically,
it. Got it.
huh?
That went over my head, but I got it. I am all.
I forget how it's really worded.
But
I
I
look
get what
like
you're
how to,
saying. Basically, if someone cuts me and I never clean the cut or take care of it, I'm gonna bleed onto something else.
yeah.
Yeah, I get it. It makes sense.
And so, yeah, it's just important just to take the time to be honest. So one, you got to start with a place of honesty and say, okay, this is what happened to me. This is how I was hurt. This is how it's impacted me. And then be honest about, is that the way you want to stay? Or is that the same way of thinking you want to continue with? And if not, you got to figure out what resources or support you need to then have
Absolutely.
the way of thinking or the way of living that is more in line with the life that you want to live. Like for me, I had to go to counseling. I had to cut off some friends. I had to put some distance between other people where it's like you don't completely get cut off, but there's some distance. There's some family members that I do not interact with on any level at all because just you're not in a healthy place right now. I love you. I wish nothing but the best for you, but you demonstrate so many toxic behaviors that my relationship to you is not worth me undoing all the work that I've done to have a peaceful and happy life. And so that's where it just comes. It's important to do it just for the well-being of yourself first, but then also so you don't project that on other people. And so that when you're in situations where you see people are in their insecurities, because I've dealt with insecurity, I've had pain in my life, so I can see it in other people. And when I interact with them and see that, just kind of like, okay, I'm not going to respond to you in the same way you respond to me. Let me show you what healing looks like. Let me show you what compassion looks like on the other side of pain instead of succumbing to that.
Yep.
Sharea knows what I'm talking about, so that's probably why she just said to you.
I'm like, girl, you want to say it. You want to say it because I'm about to say it for you, but no. No, you're right. Like it comes a point when you can't make someone else journey yours in the sense
Yeah.
that you can't always be the one to rescue them on their journey. So sometimes you just have to model the behavior. Like the reality is that I want what's best for everyone. I mean, that's really true. Like if you ask me,
Yeah.
I want what's best for everyone. However, I don't have the opportunity or the emotional space to try to help everyone, right? And so
Yeah.
if it becomes more taxing and it impacts even the people who can receive help from me, because I'm big on if my helping you hurts me helping others, then that also means that I got to set a boundary with you,
That's good.
right? Like I can't, and it doesn't matter the role you might have or title you might have in my life. It really means that I got to shift my way that I'm dealing with you so that I don't run the risk of not helping those who really are trying to take in this help. So, yeah.
No, that's good. Lisa was egging me on. She said, put them on blast. I will put the people on blast. But she had another comment here. So Lisa says, I had to get real and stop pretending and implement the things I was talking about. I can spot a pretender a mile away. So let's drop the facade so we can heal.
Yeah. I mean, oh, come on now. So, girl, let me pull you in here because that's about right. Like, you talking
Exactly.
about that. I mean, and it's funny because to me, that's like the concept of the masks that we wear and how often we are hurting other people in order to not have to resolve our own hurt and in order to not have to really kind of face up to the fact that we got baggage that we don't want to unpack. Because the reason why we can see something in someone else, like you said, I can see that insecurity is because I know what that felt like. And I
Mm-hmm.
know that that wasn't the place that I wanted to stay in. And I'm not about to go there with you. Right. And so sometimes it's just about saying, that mask, I'm not wearing no more, but I also am not participating in helping you keep yours on. Like you're gonna have to take your insecurities, pack them up, and put them somewhere else because they will not be on me. And I think that's harder than we would like to believe, especially when the person holds a title that's important in our lives, like
Yeah.
friend, mom, sister, brother. When all of those things happen, it really starts to shift how we want to respond. But the truth is that if it is harming you to be in a relationship with that person in a way that continues to be hurtful and also traumatic, then you got to make boundaries that really say, my self-love journey can't include you the same way. Doesn't mean I can't include you, but it can't include you the same way. And then I have to decide at that point what that means. Do it mean I have to talk to you only once a year? Do it mean I have to talk? Right? I have people who, like, I absolutely love them with all of my being. I can't be around you. I can't be around you because not only is it toxic, but it creates a toxic feeling in me. And then I feel I'm not being myself because I need to shift to what's toxic about you. And I don't want to have to live my life in defense anymore. Right. So one of the, and I hope that people hear that, as a person who has experienced trauma, it's real easy to realize that you're coping in a defense mode, where it's like you're always on the offense. You're always looking for how to defend yourself in this moment, how to defend yourself in this relationship, how to defend yourself in this friendship, how to defend yourself in this job, how to defend, right? I don't want to live my life that way anymore. Like, my trauma for my own individual work and personal work says that living that way was too costly for the long term. And so I'm going to bow out if it puts me back in the position where I have to be back on the offense to make sure that I'm safe. I don't want to do that anymore.
And that means, I mean, sometimes it hurts to lose those relationships. But again, just when you get to the point where you love yourself enough to maintain your wholeness and your peace, it becomes easier, not easy. It becomes easier to let go of anything that is going to compromise that, because you end up making room for more positive experiences, more positive people. Is that you'll meet people who, not saying they're perfect, but they're walking along this journey in a way that's not going to compromise your own positive self-image, your own peace, your happiness. You know, they're going to walk with you in a way that allows you to be able to grow. And that even when things go wrong or there's some misunderstanding, you can work through that in a healthy way and then move forward. It's not about perfection. It's about being able to navigate the great times and the challenging times from a healthier perspective.
And without attacking each other, right? So a relationship shouldn't be constant war. Like, if every time I have an encounter with you, I'm on such eggshells that I'm trying to figure out what to say. I'm trying to figure out how to say it so their feelings don't get hurt. I got to figure out how to say it so they won't say something that hurts my feelings. I got to figure out how to say it so that I won't talk about the subject that they don't like to talk about. I got to figure.
It's too much.
Yeah. And I don't want to do that no more. It's like, I mean, I have a lot of investments in community and who I want to help and how I want to help, but that also means I got to be really clear on what I can't do. And sometimes that includes people.
Yeah.
Right. So
you got to move forward. And then also that positive self-image means even evaluating and making sure you're not giving toxicity to other people, you know, because
you're the problem.
Where it's like, it could be you, you know, you're looking at everyone else like, oh, they're so toxic, they're so unhealthy.
Yeah, like, I swear when I see some other people who like, I'm cutting people off and I'm like, maybe it's because they don't want to be around you. That maybe you are cutting them off because they absolutely cut you off.
Oh, that stinks. Yeah, you definitely got to be honest about that, because even if your own insecurities or your own pain is because of stuff people did to you or said to you, which you had no control over, right? You do have control over how you decide to now live your life now, and what decisions you make and what behaviors you continue to have. And so you got to make a decision to live life differently, even after the pain, whatever, you know, low self-esteem, whatever has happened. You got to make new decisions, and making those new decisions mean that you have to think differently. You have to, you know, have a different way of not only looking at yourself, but even how you look at other people, and even how you interpret other people's imperfections. Because sometimes we can be so hard on people, and it's not because it's something so wrong with them. It's because it's something wrong with how we see people, because we're still seeing people out of our damaged selves and not out of our whole selves.
Yeah, like you're being critical in areas that really have to do with your brokenness.
Yeah.
Right? Where it's like your critique of that person or your perspective of that person is because you actually haven't worked on areas in yourself. I think that's an example for when she's talked about the person calling her the skinny bee, whatever.
Yeah.
Like your critique of that situation is off because you haven't dealt with how you feel about weight. And so now you're projecting that onto your friends, your relationships that you're in, when in reality, that's your responsibility, not your friends.
Right.
Right? You have to decide, am I being toxic in this relationship? And it really is no justification for it. Like, I feel strongly that hurt people don't get to hurt me anymore. Right? Like, because when people are like, well, hurt people, well, they do. But I'm not gonna be a part of this. Like, I mean, and because I really feel like that's an exhausting excuse. Right? Because hurt people also work and do their best to get healed. Right? There's a lot of people who are willing not to hurt you by trying to get help because they were hurt.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't have to wait on you to be healed for me to not be hurt by you. Like that's some nonsense, right? Like, oh, I just thought about, remember we were watching, and I ain't gonna use no names either, but remember when we heard somebody say that was all that, like, I'm trying to tell the story without telling names. Remember when we heard the statement that all I can give you is like harm reduction?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So I thought you were going to talk about the episode of Insecure, because I started thinking about how, especially as Black women, we sign up for these relationships with these men who are not in the position to give us not only what we reciprocate, but what we deserve. And so when we heard that comment from someone who was talking about their romantic relationship and how the only thing they can guarantee is harm reduction, when I tell you that, like, first of all,
every woman in there was like, what kind of nonsense? And you check
so
it.
it was really what this individual, unfortunately, so this individual, what at least a little bit that they shared, it sounds like they've had a very troubled life. And so my heart goes out to them. Mm-hmm. And I do sincerely hope and pray that they're able to heal from what has happened. But now what it seems has happened is that they've allowed their pain to justify them now hurting other people. And so they found a way to be able to say that in such an intelligent language. At least what appears to be intelligent, but it's basically an intelligent BS. Okay, mm-hmm. Where it's just like, let me use big words and let me misconstrue psychological theories to now convince
all the way wrong with it too.
Right.
Like, that was what bothered me. I was like, wait, you don't even know what that means? You using that all the way out of context, but okay, we're gonna go with it. But we're supposed to accept that as what's good.
Right. It's like, let me use this as a way, because really, so what the person said is that what they had told their significant others, theoretically, is that I can't guarantee you a perfect relationship. I can only guarantee you a perfect relationship where there's no pain and there's no hurt. I can only promise you harm reduction. So everybody jumped in and attacked the perspective, because
and I'm gonna give an example of what they mean by that. Basically, I can't promise you that I won't break your heart, cheat on you, do 18 other things, but I'll promise you I won't hit you.
Yeah.
Like, what? Right. So okay.
I can't promise you. I'll promise you that, I won't hit you, but I'm gonna still be emotionally. I'm gonna still call you out your name when I get mad at you.
Yeah, like, so almost saying that because I'm not as extreme as possibly our parents were in terms of unhealthy relationships, then you got to be satisfied with this baggage that I'm still giving you, right? So I got to be. As long as you don't hit me, then you brought down the harm in the relationship. But you emotionally telling me I'm tacky, you calling me out my name, you're emotionally abusive, you're not present, you're cheating, all of those other things are taking place, but I didn't hit you.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it means by harm reduction, right? That's how his definition was basically trying to come at us, where as women, we should be satisfied with dealing with someone who is not as bad as what we knew.
Yeah, so you can give me STDs because you cheated on me, but because you didn't hit me after when we were arguing about it, I've experienced harm reduction from you, so I should be content and stay with you. Like the level of BS that exemplifies, but it was amazing. And I don't mean amazing in a good way. I mean amazing like, wow, you really twisted this
you twisted the whole concept of harm reduction to fit your dysfunction.
Yeah, and what's so crazy about it is that even if we, and I mean we as women speaking generally, even if we haven't had a man come and explicitly say, I can only give you harm reduction, we have accepted that though. When you think about just the toxic relationships that we allow ourselves to stay in because we see the potential. So for the sake of potential, we will put up with BS and put up with the emotional distress and emotional harm and put up with not receiving the love and value that we truly deserve because, oh, he has the potential to be, or he did, you know, he was a good guy when I first met him. Sis, he was trying to win you over. Of course, he's going to show you all the glitz and glamour.
But at 10 minutes.
Right, in the beginning. You know, it's like putting on a nice suit and cologne and you ain't showered in 3 months. Eventually, after a few hours, that funk, it's going to come through the nice suit and the good cologne. And so we can't just get caught up in the potential of what's in the exterior and not really look at what's going on the inside of someone. And then we're now in situations where it's hard to have a positive self-image of yourself when you're in a toxic relationship or when you're in a toxic environment. And so just taking that time to really make sure that like people are truly who they say they are.
And they're treating you the way you deserve, not the way they think you deserve, or what they think you deserve, right? Or you just enough is not good enough, right? So being able to separate the two, giving me just enough is definitely not good enough when I deserve more. And I deserve what I deserve as a woman. And that you define that. I can't define that for you. But I also know that it shouldn't be just not being hit.
Yes.
Right? I know that it shouldn't be not called out my name only. Like, so yeah, you acting like you're a good man or a good partner when in reality you decided that I only should get good enough.
Or let's say if you accept, oh, he doesn't cheat on me and he doesn't hit me, but emotionally he's not supportive.
Not available.
Right. He doesn't talk to you at all. Like y'all don't have good conversation. The only thing you talk about is what's for dinner and when y'all about to get it on at night. But there's no conversations, no support about what's going on with you professionally, no, you know, connection with the family and supporting whatever hobbies or passions that you have. Just because he's not hating you and not cheating on you, that's not okay. You should be emotionally supported and everything as well too.
And that goes back to why I do not like when people try to say hurt people as if that's a pass. Yeah. You don't get a pass on treating me right. You don't get a pass on if I've done work to take care of myself, you ain't have to do any work, right? Yeah. I don't get to give you, and here's the other thing. I don't think we keep giving people excuses for why they hurt us, right? Yeah. Like, it's not okay for me to be like, oh, well, that's because they had a bad childhood. Don't keep giving somebody an excuse for them blacking your eye out. Yeah. Like, no, don't give them an excuse for them calling you out your name.
Right.
Like, there isn't no excuse. I'm sorry, somebody just said something.
Yeah, we got a couple of things. So we got one comment that says, yeah, completely emotionally unavailable. Absolutely. Just because someone is single, not married, not in a relationship, does not mean they're emotionally available, that you should be in a relationship with them. So that's good. Exactly. Then there's another comment that said, I felt like Omar Tyree was trying to say that one time. I don't know who that is, though.
I don't know him either.
Yeah.
Is that one of those, what is that, relationship gurus that just popped up on the internet?
Yeah, so quick sidebar. Be mindful or be careful with relationship experts who are men who only speak to women and only telling the women what they need to do so a man won't do this. You don't control somebody's actions. The man has to decide, or the women too, a human, let me say this, a human has to decide who they want to be, what level of maturity they want to live their life
prior to. Yeah.
And that's outside of anyone else. If you can't decide within yourself, by yourself, that you're going to be human and respectable and mature and emotionally available and take the time to do the work.
It's an author. It's an author of Fly Girl.
Oh, okay. The author of Fly Girl. Yeah, I haven't read that book. But yeah, like all these relationship gurus is only talking to the women about what you need to do. And they don't tell anything about what the man needs to do.
And they're doing it with no shirt on. I'm like...
Listen, look, he said,
I'm do like, no shirt thing, dude. We still gonna like your post. Like,
yeah. Listen, I'm a life coach, so there are some positive life coaches out there that have done the work to get some training and have experience. But
Like,
life
I
coaching,
still like you with this shirt off without you trying to tell me what to do in my relationship.
They just trying to make $1. So now they turn themselves a life coach or relationship expert because they done got in the gym, look extra cute, and get on to make a couple of videos.
And I ain't even mad at you. Like, be extra cute, but talk about that. Like, I don't really need you telling me what to do in my relationships. I just want to look at you.
Right. Just get on, just be eye candy. Be an Instagram model and get a real modeling contract, you know, because a couple of people have done it. But
don't go running on the hill when your shirt off and then stop and be like, ladies, he doesn't love you if.
Exactly. What else? So we have someone else settling for minor and minimal relationships. Yeah, absolutely. Because here's the thing, like even if so nobody is perfect. Let's start there. Yeah. But just because you may have made mistakes in the past does not mean you now don't deserve the best. Just like you're not that same person. You know, we all make decisions when we're younger and, you know, and unaware, and we're not as informed as we are now, right? And so those mistakes or your past, whatever, does not now mean that you don't deserve a whole, fruitful, emotionally well and healthy, balanced relationship.
I know that's right.
Yeah, like don't settle. Like absolutely not. Like the person I would date now is not the same people I was dating in my 20s. Like we're not about that life. Not anymore.
Oh, no. Please, the person that I am now, I wouldn't even do my early 30s. I met my husband.
Yeah, like, and that's the thing. And here's the thing. And it's not just about the guys. Like, yeah, they were definitely unhealthy.
Even me, like I was a different person.
Mm-hmm. And so, like, I'm not going to hold myself to the person I used to be. I'm not going to punish my new, developed, constantly evolving self because of who I used to be. I know better, so now I do better, and I deserve better, and I'm going to get it.
And just because I was a hurt person don't mean I need to hurt. No,
yes. Sharea going to keep putting that out there.
I just want the universe in the world to know you don't get to hurt me because you hurt others. Like, or
I'm a post, listen. If y'all don't see me in the group no more, what happened is that I put that meme in the group and Sharea blocked me. I'm gonna get kicked out the group.
Yes, like, girl, get out of here. Like,
I'm joking. I'm not gonna post it in the group.
No, but seriously though, I do think like that accepting and settling in relationships is a flaw that has to do with the fact that we sometimes think we're running out of time. Sometimes we think that we don't deserve more, that this is just enough. Like, some of those things are about internal self-love work, going back to what we're talking about. Is finding for yourself who you are with or without someone. So also that can attract what you really want and what you really deserve. Yeah.
You got a comment in the group today said, come on, Sharea Farmer with the fist pump.
Yes.
So that has brought us to the end. This hour always goes by so quickly, fast. Like it feels like we just started 5 minutes ago. Like I can't believe we are now just 5 minutes left, and it feels like we've only been talking for like 5 minutes. So
and I was like, we ain't got nothing to talk about today. Let's go. Let's just do this quickly. We ain't gonna talk about nothing. Here we are, an hour in.
Right.
But that just goes to show you how much we enjoy doing this and hope that it's a helpful support. And sometimes the topics are really, really deep, and other times they're just fun and light, but it's something that we need to do for each other. But also I think it helps Sharea and I as well to be encouraged to do something to help others, but also to help ourselves in these moments. And so we have a few tips. I'm gonna let Sharea roll them out. That was all the way off today. I'll start with the first one. The first tip is to remember to drink lots of water and make sure that you are staying hydrated in these times.
Yeah, and so I'll give my growth. So I've been drinking a lot more water. I'm proud of myself. I'm that person that didn't like to drink water. And so, but the one thing I want to say, the more I drink it, the more that my body actually craves it. And I also put like lemons or lime or orange slices in it just to give it like a little kick of flavor. So that fresh fruit, so that helps too. If you're a person like me where you're like, I like juice or pop, so that helps. You want to get enough sleep.
I love when she says pop. You know, us New Jersey people, we'll say pop soda, but I love it.
And you know what? People still get mad, especially here in Philly. First of all, they look at me like I'm crazy when I want to order a pop or like, you know, go to the store like, oh, do y'all have like orange pop? And they're like, where are you from? What are you talking about? I'm like, y'all know I'm from the Midwest, so that's why I call it pop. But yeah, you want to get some rest and get adequate sleep at night. Make sure that you have a routine in place to help your body to calm down, your mind to like wind down so you're ready to sleep. Like, don't go and watch like a horror movie, run 5 miles, and then go jump in the bed. Like, that's probably not going to help you get a very restful sleep.
Yes.
So, doing some type of meditation, which is also a self-care tip, but doing some type of meditation or reading a book or listening to, some music that can help your mind to begin to unwind so that you can have a restful sleep. You want to make sure that you are making healthier choices when it comes to your diet. We're not saying that everybody needs to go vegetarian or vegan, although those are great options. But really it's about making lifestyle changes. So if you want to make a lifestyle change, you start with doing small things at a time and keep adding to it, So you can't just go from eating 5 burgers today to trying to be vegan tomorrow and think it's going to work. It's not. So make sure just to try to find healthy alternatives so you can have, again, improve your health and make it a lifestyle change that you can be committed to. Love yourself. We talked about self-care today.
Yes.
So make sure that you are doing things like give yourself positive affirmations, celebrate even the small wins. Don't always wait to get to a destination. See your happiness, your peace, your positive self-image as a journey. Make sure you do things to find joy.
Every single day.
Yes. So just take a few minutes out of your day, whether it's watching, your favorite episode of a TV show or reading a book, that you really enjoy or listening
or watching your children do something that is just joyful in the moment, like laughing and laughing at something silly or remembering old stories with your family. Like find those opportunities, especially for us as Black women and what's going on in our world. It is very easy for us to get lost. And I'm not going to lecture at all. It's going to be really easy to get lost in all the harmfulness of the world that we don't find it, but find your joy. Find a little bit of joy as much as possible in each and every day so that we can also teach our children that as we resist systems and we resist racism and we resist all of the fights that we have to endure, that we still have a history of joyfulness that is built. Our ancestors have given us that and we should continue it, right? We have always found joy even in the midst of crazy. So sorry.
No, it's fine. No, I just felt bad that I'm laughing at the comments while you're giving something serious. So ditto to Lisa with the lemons. She said when you add the lemons to the water, it makes you use the bathroom more, which is so true. And then Sasha said yes to the water. We're drinking the water. And then she also said that Canadians say pop too. Oh, so good. I can go there and say, hey, y'all got some pop? And then I know down south they call everything Coke.
Sometimes.
Like, what type of Coke do you want? But just make sure that you all are taking care of yourselves. You don't have to be in fight mode 24-hour days, 7 days a week. Gotta take some time to just chill, like Sharea was just saying.
Lisa said, she said pee. Get it straight. Don't even my words.
Listen here, I'm trying to make sure that I don't say that too much. So drink by adding lemons to your water. It will make you pee more frequently. Okay, there we go.
Yes, tell it, Lisa. That is not what I said. Don't be quoting me and not quoting me.
Lisa mad because I was
absolutely. So that is what we're going to end on. Every single person in here today, your homework is to be able to go out and tell people, do not quote me wrong. This is who I am. I am okay with who I am, and you're going to say it, right? So be proud, be bold, and be you. And
yes.
I'm sorry. I forgot to tell Sharea this too, so we're saying it on the spot. Sharea is going to be live next week on her own.
Thank you for letting me know.
Yes, I'm so sorry. So you guys know, and I wanted to say this a few months ago, that that this group started off for me around my grief journey. It literally was just a few of my girlfriends. Then it started to be a couple more people who put in people. And here we are at 1,500 later. But this group was started when I was struggling emotionally with a lot of grief around my mother. And part of my, when we talked earlier about the weight gain and stuff, is related to that grief and trying to really work hard to balance between grief and my lifestyle and healthiness. And so next week on this day is my mother's birthday. And so I will not be here in order to make sure that I am taking care of myself. And part of taking care of myself is saying that this is, although a very supportive and loving group, and I'm so glad to see us grow, I'm gonna take myself a time out and really stick to it. So Sharea will be here live next week. And I know she's gonna be awesome because she's Sharea.
Oh, thank you. So don't y'all bail on me next week. Don't do me like that. Help a sister out.
Yes, please don't. So.
But yeah, we will. We send you lots of love and virtual hugs your way.
Oh, I know. I always know it. And that's why I feel comfortable enough to say it, right? And so yeah. I'm going to take care of myself the way I would hope that everyone would take care of themselves. And so we got our tips for the day. I'm glad we were popping in the comments.
Yes.
Sherry, I'm going to give her some tips on topics so that she won't be like, I don't know what to talk about for the whole hour.
Listen, because look, sometimes it's a struggle because we don't want to sound redundant, you know? Yeah. So.
But we do a good job because sometimes, like, you guys are getting us off camera and on camera. So,
yes.
So on that note, we are going to tell you one good thing, and that is that you are awesome, you are beautiful, and guys, be well.
All right, bye.